You deserve an apology because you had horrible parents in your life. Your mom, horrible parent, that maybe her mom don't love her, and then you're saying you don't want her anymore. Were you using meth with your son? That's either yes or no.
Yes.
In today's video, Judge Boyd is sad and upset. She's about to face the worst mothers of her courtroom career, and the last one? She raised a son who ended up with 35 years behind bars.
And you have had a horrible life with your horrible mother and your horrible stepfather. And I don't know what they're doing with your sister. I don't know if they're using meth with your sister or not. I'm gonna go off the record. Excuse me. Why are you at the door? Either you're in or you're out. All right, how old is this child?
My daughter just turned 5 this year.
All right, so why would you be hitting your child because she doesn't want to eat?
I'm lost control.
But you said in the police report I'm reading, you said that you didn't want her anymore. So I don't understand this. I don't understand someone repeatedly slapping a 5-year-old for not eating. So how do you think that, what do you think that did to her day? I'm sorry? I mean, what did that do to her day? So she's at a restaurant, probably a restaurant that she did not choose to go to. And you're slapping her, according to you, because she won't eat food. And then you're pushing the stroller. I'm assuming you're pushing it angrily because then the people at the restaurant said you told her and told everybody you didn't want her anymore.
Your Honor, if I may, this event occurred in the dining area of the Havens for Hope.
Yeah.
It's not in it.
Well, that's even worse. Because one, you now have a child who's staying at Haven for Hope. And I don't think she bought into, hey, let me be born to this mother where I'm placed at Haven for Hope. So where is the child now?
My son's grandparents.
And you say your son's grandparents. I mean, how are they related to her?
They're not.
So now she's with people she doesn't even know, who doesn't really have, well, they really don't have a biological connection to her.
They know her. They spend time with her.
Yeah. And you don't know how they're treating her though.
No, they take care of all of my children.
Because you're not?
No, because they love them as their grandchildren. Even my two that aren't biologically related.
And what is Child Protective Services doing?
I agreed to allow her to stay there till I successfully complete my program.
Yeah, I'm not going to order. I know outside the agreement, it's no harm for interest contact, but I'm not going to allow you to have contact with her until you go through some type of therapy. It takes a lot for a parent to have birthed a child in the world, right? Or either for a father to have a child to, in public, in front of everybody, hit that child several times and then say, you don't want them anymore. I can't even imagine how she feels with you telling her that. Do you know what that did to her confidence? And do you know how that made her feel? Because on the planet, everybody is hoping that their mom or their dad loves them more than everybody else. Everybody is hoping that as a child, you can always run to your mom for protection. And instead of doing that, you hit her in front of everybody. And guess what? Do you know what embarrassment that probably caused her? And what it caused her because she realizes that maybe her mom don't love her. And then you're saying you don't want her anymore. And I'm not trying to be mean to you, but you need to realize what you did and how that affected her. Because now her confidence is probably less than zero. Now she probably thinks her mom doesn't love her. And the embarrassment of it all in front of everybody. And I'm sure there were other children probably there too. And who knows what they probably said to her afterwards, maybe, ha ha, your mom doesn't love you. So she's already dealing with the fact that she doesn't have a mom who can have her in a home or an apartment, but has her at Haven for Hope. And she's dealing with all of that. And who knows what she's dealing with at school, because children can be cruel. And people say children are cruel because they don't know any better. It's because their parents don't teach them any better. So she's at school, and I'm sure they probably know she's staying at Haven for Hope. And then she has all of this other stuff that she's dealing with. And she doesn't have her own little private space where she can go and just decompress. Instead, she's having to deal with you, and you're putting your adult problems on her. I am not going to allow her to have contact with this child until she goes through some kind of therapy, and the child goes through therapy to see, does she want to be with mom? Does she trust mom to take care of her and not injure her? So that's what I'm doing. So knowing that, do you all still want to continue with the agreement? All right, this is what the court is going to do. The court is going to sentence you to 4 years in prison, suspended and probated for 6 years. There's a $1,500 fine that will be probated. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with minors. There's to be no contact with Sky Ray. And counsel, you can approach after she's completed therapy and after the child has had some therapy, you can always approach and ask me to lift the no contact order. But for now, there's to be no contact.
Understand.
There's 150 hours of community service restitution. 40 of those hours will be waived if you provide proof of the COVID vaccination. The court is not requiring you to get the COVID vaccination, but if you do, 40 of those hours will be waived. There's to be parenting classes with Triple T. Of course, this Child Protective Services is giving her parenting classes. The court will accept that. I don't want any overlapping of services. So why are you at Haven for Hope?
Your Honor, if I may, one question.
Yes.
Parenting classes may involve some supervised visitation between her and the child. But
She will have to approach the court. And when you approach the court on that, the CPS worker needs to be here, and also the child's attorney.
Understand.
All right. So why were you at Haven for Hope?
I lived in my apartment for 7 years. The caseworker that had my file, she quit. So everybody that was on her desk got delayed. So my two options was to renew my lease for a couple of months and then have a broken lease once my new voucher came in. I only needed to wait 30 days until my new voucher came in. I already did all the paperwork, everything was done. I was just staying at Haven for Hope until my voucher kicked in. I found an apartment within the first week. It was a brand new apartment, a 2-bedroom. I was just waiting for my voucher to come in.
All right. So why are you not working?
I get SSI,
For what?
mental health.
All right. There's going to be proof of employment or SSI
I have those documents.
within 45 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. CPS compliance. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. I'm going to want field visits probation. Sorry, it's going to be 4 times per month, and they need to go into the home and make sure that there are no minors in the home. And we're going to do random UAs. And those field visits and random UAs will be until further notice. Probation, is there anything else she needs? Oh, I'm sorry, anger management classes. And make sure that's intensive. And she's going to have to do anger management classes other than what she's been given at the jail. Probation, is there anything else she needs? Ms. Ray, is there anything else you need from the court? I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? And also, because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. All right, good luck to you. We can go off the record. Here's the thing. If you cannot raise your children, if you cannot be patient with them, then you need not raise them. Someone else needs to do that. Do you understand? All right, thank you. Make sure you keep your voice up. I've just been informed by your counsel that English is not your first language. It's Spanish, is that correct?
Yes, but I am.
All right, so you don't need an interpreter? All right, thank you. All right, the state is silent, so defense.
Your Honor, at this time, we would ask that you grant Ms. Ramirez the deferred adjudication. After reading over the PSI, we just wanted to highlight a couple of pieces of information. My client has been going through her CPS case for about 18 months now. She has completed several courses. The event that is listed in there to include the topics of the family violence, the violence education, parenting, anger management. She has also been ongoing through continued counseling. She was going through Mr. Carlos Castillo until just this last July. We were supposed to start trial at that time. He didn't schedule her any other sessions with him, so she went on her own to seek additional counseling through somebody that was provided through her insurance.
Everyone, please make sure you whisper. Yes.
And so she is still continuing, and she is very proactive and continuing counseling really to try to understand how her behavior that made the children, even specifically, feel victimized, how she can change it going forward. In the PSI, I believe it does say that the child was hospitalized. We also just wanted to clarify that they had went to take photos. There was no hospitalization of the children. And in addition to that, Your Honor, we just wanted to also highlight that although the PSI it seems to highlight specifics of one side of the story, there was also no mention in there about Miss Nancy Kellogg stating that the injuries did seem from Evelyn as consistent with the bike and the iron and not of abuse, as well as Evelyn did not make any outcry, and when specifically probed about what Ethan had stated, had given completely different version of the events. In any event, Your Honor, my client is working. She would like to continue to go to counseling. We do have trial in her CPS case on Thursday and Friday.
Mhm.
And so she is asking for her children to be returned. I understand that CPS is asking for her to be terminated, but she would like the opportunity to work probation, get continued services, and then continue with her job at Wells Fargo.
Okay, so this is what the court is trying to understand. According to the stipulations, and this is what you stipulated to, it says that the victim, which is one of the children, made an outcry at school of abuse while at home. R1 said that victim 2 was found to have a large welt on his left upper thigh as a result of being struck by his mother. R1 said that his sister goes to the same school as victim 2, and she was also interviewed by school staff. It was discovered that victim 1 had bruising on both inner thighs and also had a burn mark to her right inner thigh that she said was from a steam iron. R1 said that when asked how she was injured, victim 1 said that she fell off her bike. R1 said that victim's injuries were not consistent with falling off a bike. R1 said that victim was asked how she got the burn mark. R1 stated that victim 1 stated that her mother told her to unplug and put away a still hot steam iron, and she accidentally dropped it on her leg, causing the stated burn. So are you saying that you didn't cause any of these injuries to the children? I want to talk about the welt mark from the other child. Yes.
So on Ethan, when I asked him in front of the caseworker, what were they referring to? All he did was just lift the pants that he had on, and all you saw was notice was the bruise on his lower leg.
So are you saying you didn't do it?
I didn't strike him with the belt.
All right, because, and then on the PSI report on page 4, it says, Ms. Torres stated Ethan spoke of being in a closet for hours at a time. He feared of what would happen if he came out. He stated he was scared, bored, and hungry. He stated some of his siblings would check on him and play with him. He also spoke of a time when his mother choked him off the ground for losing his church book and slapping him. He spoke of being hungry and his mother not feeding him. So if none of this is true, why did you enter a plea? Why not go to a jury trial?
Because of, communication that we've had with the children's attorney. We created advice on responsibility.
No. Do you want a jury trial? We'll give you one today. We have a jury outside. That'll be here at 1:30. You want a jury trial? That's either yes or no.
No, no.
All right. Is there anything else from either side? And defense, do you feel that your client's entering into this plea bargain agreement was voluntary?
Yes.
All right. And Ms. Ramirez, was anything offered to you other than the plea bargain agreement?
That my friend.
All right. All right. If there is nothing else for either side, the court is going to deny the application, find you guilty. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. The court will sentence you to $1,500 fine, time and money to run concurrent. And the court will sentence you to 4 years in the prison. I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction and an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you.
Judge, we do have victim impact on this case, and I believe this is here.
All right. Any witnesses, state,
None from the state, Your Honor.
defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thanks for this one.
Mr. Brown,
Was that again? Sorry. take it.
Thank you for listening to.
no, thank you so much for coming in.
And the prosecutor may have some questions for you.
Okay.
I just have a few questions,
Yes.
Your Honor. One, did you know the victim in this case?
Yes,
How was the victim?
he's a good friend.
A good man? Okay. Didn't deserve what happened to him, is that correct?
No,
Okay. And you're not aware of your son's drug use, is that right? The extent of it, that's what.
not the extent of it, no.
Okay. So you used methamphetamine with him that same day? I'll move on to that next question. The fact is that your son even admits that he used on a daily basis, that he lived with you. He used marijuana, he used meth, and he used Xanax on a daily basis.
I didn't know of him doing all of those.
And you stated he had a good childhood. I saw the photos. And that he viewed some physical violence between you and your husband,
Yes,
and some physical violence between you and your boyfriend. Or boyfriend, one of your boyfriends.
well, okay, yeah, maybe once,
Maybe once, so not an extended period of time.
yes,
Was he ever abused in the house?
no,
Sexually abused in the house?
no,
Was he ever sexually abused by anyone?
no,
Abused physically by anyone?
no.
Abused emotionally by anyone?
And I know.
So the only time you saw the difference in his behavior is when he started using drugs on a daily basis since the age of 18 years old.
No,
You saw behavior before that you didn't
no,
mention yet.
I just seen the behavior change when his best friend and my brother passed on.
How old was he?
I believe he was 16.
16.
Mhm.
So he started using alcohol back in 6th grade. You're aware of that, aren't you?
No,
That's what he stated.
no,
So you're not aware of that. Where were you at during this time when he was in 6th grade and started using alcohol on daily, or at least
he
weekly,
was at my mother's house.
at your mother's house?
Yes.
Where were you?
I was not living with them there.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honor.
Any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
I do. A question wasn't asked, wasn't answered. Were you using meth with your son? That's either yes or no.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
No,
All
no, no, stay.
right, defense, call your next witness.
Just 1 minute.
And so, no, sorry. And the fact is that that particular day, he was not threatening to you. He didn't try to hit you that you saw. He didn't try to attack the defendant in this case, Mr. Michael Montoya.
No, prior to that, Urban Mayor,
Yes.
prior to that, they were outside. But 15, 20 minutes prior to that, he said they were outside talking, and then I tried to butt in their conversation as they're both Michael's family, Paul, my friend. And they were just ignoring me because they're having a good time. They were laughing, and I just forget y'all, and I walked inside.
In fact, in these Ring cameras, you're aware of the Ring camera videos that were supplied by the homeowner. In this case,
Yes,
you can see that three of y'all standing out there, and there was at least a cigarette or something smoking that was passed around. Is that right?
that is correct.
And what was that?
That was a blunt,
What?
a
What?
marijuana blunt.
Okay, so marijuana.
Yes,
And so prior to that, nothing had happened, nothing transpired between the defendant and the victim. Is that correct?
yes, that is correct.
And when y'all went into the house, you left the house, and then the defendant, Michael Montoya, shot at the victim 3 different times. You're aware of that?
That is incorrect.
That's incorrect.
I was in the same room when Michael shot Paul.
So were you watching it happen?
Negative, no, sir.
So you were turned around?
I was kneeled down into a fire cabinet.
So you were there when it happened?
Yes,
And what happened after that? After he was shot?
I couldn't get up at that very moment. When I was able to actually stand up, I turn around. I see like a tunnel vision. Michael on the other side of the doorway. I never saw Paul. And I saw Michael with the handgun, not facing at me, or he just had it tilted downwards.
Mhm.
Like if you didn't know, he didn't have no response to what he did at that moment. And I was terrified. I didn't know what was going through his head when he started hearing, Michael, what did you do? Michael. And he snapped out of it, and then he realized he had the gun in his hand. And what do I do? What do I do, Doc? What do I do? I said, put the gun down. And then it was a 5-gallon bucket. He put it down. When he put it down, and that's when I charged him, and I saw Paul on the side of the doorway folded up. Yes,
And then you're the one that called the police, is that correct?
his mother.
His mother called the police. And then you waited for the police there, is that correct?
We both did.
Okay. Well, but Michael did.
Michael left.
And
Came back,
you're, I'm sorry,
but came back.
right. You're aware of his drug use though?
Yes.
I mean, that night you smoked marijuana. Wasn't it?
Yes, I did smoke marijuana.
Are you aware of his other illicit drugs like Xanax?
I'm aware we tried not to, any type of other drug than that. I didn't prove any of that. I didn't.
Well, you're aware of the meth use, obviously,
Yes, I'm aware of it.
and you're aware of the marijuana, you're aware of alcohol use.
The marijuana, I did smoke.
Right. I'm not
No,
arguing
but-
on that, but you're aware that he used it quite a bit.
I don't know about quite a bit, but yes, he did use it.
Can you describe to the judge the demeanor of Michael when he was on meth?
If he was on meth or marijuana or sober, he was still the same in my perspective, but his thought process, if it was negative, it would be 10 times worse, or if it was positive, it would be 10 times as positive. It would just enhance of the mood he was in.
What I'm trying to get to is the fact is you see a marked difference in his attitude now. Is that right? When you talk on the telephone?
Yes,
So he's not on drugs now.
he's on anxiety.
Well, I'm sorry. He's not on meth.
No.
Okay.
No.
And he's not smoking marijuana, right?
Correct.
Okay. So there's a difference between him being where he voluntarily goes out and does Xanax, that's not prescribed to him. When he does meth, that's not prescribed to him. When he does marijuana, when it's not prescribed to him. When he's out in the world doing all these drugs, he's a different type of person.
Yes.
And now he's a different person because he's not on all those drugs.
That is true. None of us understood his medical condition that we believe that he has now. And I'm no doctor or whatnot, but I feel that he used that to help him cope. And I myself, I've been incarcerated. The reason I'm saying that is, but it took me. I understood about myself by getting help from the system. They put me into rehab, and I understand a lot about myself from there and whatnot. I just believe he just needs help.
Thank you. No further question, John.
Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Mr. Montoya, I want you to know that I listened to everything that's brought before me, and I consider all the evidence that's brought before me. I mean, do you deserve an apology? Yes. And you know why you deserve an apology? Because you had horrible parents in your life. Your mom, horrible parent, still a horrible parent to this day, using meth with you. She was horrible for bringing someone into your life as a stepfather who just got out of prison, using drugs with you. So you have horrible parents, horrible adults in your life. Your grandmother, it appears that your grandmother was trying to help you stay clean and sober, but then you have your horrible mom coming in and allowing you to live with her and use meth with her. That is ridiculous for your horrible mom to be using meth with you and rubber stamping it and okaying it. And then having your horrible stepfather who thinks he's a good stepfather, but there he is using drugs with you. And I guarantee you right now, your mother doesn't think she's a horrible parent, even though she's using meth with you. Your stepfather thinks he's doing a great job, even though he's using drugs with you. So I want you to know that I understand, and I heard everything, and I understand that you had a horrible upbringing. But by that same token, there's a complainant in this case, somebody who is dead, who had family who loved and cared about him, and he's just working, doing a job. This is not a situation where he was doing something illegal or doing something inappropriate. And whenever a life is taken, guess what? Society suffers because whatever they were bringing to this world, maybe for the benefit of others, we no longer have that. So when I sentence you today, I want you to know that I realize your childhood was horrible. And sometimes people have a childhood that's horrible and they make it out. And you wonder, how did they ever make it out? And then sometimes when children are taken from the hospital to be with their horrible parents, you know that they're going to have a horrible life. And you have had a horrible life with your horrible mother and your horrible stepfather. And I don't know what they're doing with your sister. I don't know if they're using meth with your sister or not. I don't know if there are other grandchildren that people are allowing your horrible mother and your horrible stepfather to be around. So I want you to know that I heard all of the testimony and I listened to it and I internalize it. Okay? So I'm going to find you guilty. I'm going to sentence you to 35 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon. Court will take in consideration 665-487 and 673-117. I'll ask for the therapeutic community. And I'll also ask, they do have mental health treatment at the prison. I'll ask for that as well. I don't have any jurisdiction to force them to do that. But if you request it and they see that I'm requesting it, they may be able to do that for you, okay? Going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We'll go off the record. I know that this seems like a lot of time, and honestly, it is a lot of time, but it's time for you to understand how you got to the position where you are. And it's also time for you to grow and get away from other people. I can't tell you or force you not to have any conversations with your mom, but your mom means you no good. Because if she did, she wouldn't be using drugs with you. If she did, she would have told you, stay with your grandmother. I'm not a good parent because I'm using meth. She still thinks she's a good parent, using meth and bringing a criminal in your life who's using drugs, who on the outside comes in wearing a nice outfit, dressed appropriately for court, but he's still a drug user, and that's who she's bringing around you. The fact that she gave you a father who everybody said was not a good father, then what does she do? She brings boyfriend after boyfriend to be negative influences in your life. So whether or not you continue to have contact with her is completely up to you, but you need to work on yourself, because otherwise, when you get out of prison, and at some point you'll get out of prison, you're going to be right back where you started from. You understand? All right, good luck to you. Do